It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome in. So nice to have you on this Wednesday, halfway through the month. It's the 15th, believe it or not, of November. The Grizz get beaten up in L.A. Whew. Was a game for maybe 8 minutes. That was about it. College Football Poll has a new number one. We'll talk with both Steve Earhart and Brett Norsworthy about that. Oh, I should mention Ron Higgins will be with us. He is our last guest of the day. And that line for the Tigers SMU in football keeps going up. I saw it at first at 5.5. It's at 8.5 now. Steve Earhart told me he saw it first at 3.5. Line's moving 5 points. That's amazing. Apparently people must not think the Tigers will be able to stop SMU at all. We'll get into that as the day goes on. Let's start with the Grizz, because Mr. Earhart's going to join us here in about 9 minutes. I mentioned they were only in the game about 8 minutes, maybe 10. Once Marcus Smart went down with an ankle injury, that was pretty much the end of it. Kennard did not play but about 5 minutes in the game because he had knee soreness. Maybe Triple J's injured in the head. Psyche, he was 3 of 16 field goal attempts. Some of that had to do with Anthony Davis. Man, Anthony Davis is like to play Jaren Jackson Jr. He blocked him at least 3 times. He had 6 blocks last night, AD. At least 3 of those were on Jaren Jackson Jr., who only played about 22 minutes. Bain, only 15 points in the game. Aldama, the only bright spot, with 24 and 5. The team shot 37%. Part of that is because 53 three attempts. Holy mackerel. They actually shot that at 38%. 53, and they allowed 22 threes. Out-rebounded 54 to 33, so they were out-rebounded by 21 boards. Dominated the whole way. I mentioned AD, 19 and 11 with those 6 blocks, so he was inside presence. D'Angelo Russell had 24. He kept hitting stuff from the outside. LeBron, 16 and 9, 6 assists in 22 minutes. But these are the facts. Here's what the Grizz did not have last night. And I don't care how good a coach you are, you've got to have players. So here's who didn't play last night. John Morant, Steven Adams, Brandon Clark, Marcus Smart, about 8 minutes, Derrick Rose, Kennard, about 5 minutes. That's $95 million at least in money right there. Not to mention no Melton, no Brooks, no Tyus Jones. Guys that were around last year when they played the Lakers. Well, Melton wasn't around. But if you go back a couple of years, those are 3 pieces that you've really, you look at this roster, I guess you could say Tyus Jones, Marcus Smart, if you're going to say that, or Brooks, Marcus Smart, really haven't picked up. Gilliard is not Tyus Jones. Melton has never been replaced. So I guess the front office has something to blame here. LaRavia didn't quite work out, I don't think. Zaire Williams, I don't think quite worked out. Aldama's a good pick. Roddy, he's a useful body. But what used to be a really good starting lineup with depth is no longer that. That's the truth. And now 2 and 9 on the year. Georgia now number 1 in the college football poll. Ohio State 2, Michigan 3, Florida State 4. Should Washington, with a win over Oregon that is 6 and Washington's 5, should they be in the top 4? I kind of think so. I think the Pac-12 gets no respect here because I think there are about 5 or 6 or 7 good teams in the Pac-12. They're not getting their due, and neither is Washington or Oregon. Now, Oregon seems to be getting it. They got 1 loss in their 6. But come on now. Michigan, 1 win now. The Penn State win. That's it. And they're 3. Ohio State did get moved down. If we had the playoff, This would be some opening round games just to know how good this would be. Tulane would be at Michigan. Oregon State would be at Oregon. Louisville would be at Texas. Missouri would be at Alabama. Those would be fun. And then the byes, you get the first 5 teams get byes. So waiting for winners would be Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, Florida State, and Washington. Man, that stuff sounds good to me. And that's what we will see next year. A couple of Tiger notes. This is just so cool. Jake Elliott, and I know Greg and Eli just played his little audio of him purchasing 2,500 tickets. I mean, how cool is that? The former Tiger kicker, now Super Bowl champion kicker with the Philadelphia Eagles. When Memphis plays Philadelphia, he's always there in, Lincoln, in the Link. And then on his off week, he usually comes to the Tiger game if it's in Memphis. So he's got a great presence. He does feel like he's a part of the University of Memphis Tiger family. There's no doubt. And so for him to purchase 2,500 tickets, now these are free for any of you. Go to GoTigersGo.com. There's a link there, and I believe you can get up to 4 tickets. So if you're out there in this audience and you don't have tickets yet, and you really would kind of like to go to the game and you want to take your kids, and you think, okay, this is cost prohibitive, I could do something else. They're free. You can get up to 4. Go to GoTigersGo.com. And, last time Memphis played SMU in a big game was a game day game, and that was a sellout. I don't think that'll happen, but if Memphis gets anywhere from, let's say, 35 to 40, because they're close to about 30,000, they're somewhere between 25 and 30 on a regular basis. Now with this incentive and this incredible important game, probably the most important game since 2019 for this team, certainly the most important game in the Ryan Silverfield era, here's his chance for a signature win. And you can get these things for free. Please take advantage and go to GoTigersGo.com, get your free tickets, show up and yell. 12th man, as they like to say, will be incredibly important. And I got to give a tip of the cap to Tim Cramsey, whose team is averaging 39 points and 452 yards per game. That would be the Tigers. That's his offense because he's the OC, and he is a candidate for the Broyles Award. Now, I will say, SMU, they averaged 39.9 points, about 0.8 of a point more than Memphis, and they get 473 yards. They've had 2 games this year where they've scored 69. And their point differential is better than Memphis's, too. Memphis, in my estimation, will have to score 40 points to beat SMU. It'll be interesting. We meet with the coaches tomorrow. We'll get their take on all of that. But I got a feeling that will be the case. Boy, there was some great college basketball last night. I don't know if any of you watched it. I stayed up till midnight watching all this stuff. I gave up on the Grizz. They were down 25 with about 3 minutes left to go, and I said, okay, they're not coming back. But I did watch a lot of college basketball, too. The Kansas-Kentucky game was incredible. Kentucky's got this amazing class. Like, they've got 5 freshmen that are all within the top 23 of the prospects from last year. And the 23rd is a guy named Shepard who's really good, whose dad was a great player. And they got DJ Wagner, and they got this kid Reeves. I mean, they're really good. And they got a transfer who was outstanding last night. But their 3 7-footers didn't play. And yet Kentucky was in the game the whole way against Kansas. Kansas prevailed, but that was great. Creighton and Iowa, high-scoring game, very entertaining. Creighton at home. They're going to Maui. That'll be fun to watch them. Marquette, which is also going to Maui. They went to Champaign, and Shaka Smart's team was pretty dominating in that game. It was a good game. It was tied a bunch, but I don't think there was any question that Marquette's team was better. That kid Kohler is a great point guard. Does everything for that team. and Marquette is fun to watch. So it was a great evening of basketball, except for the way the Grizzly finish was. Let's see if we can't get a hold of Steve Earhart. He is scheduled to join us. He was involved in a board meeting today with his board for the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, and he went over scenarios, and we'll go over with him what he told his board today. I got to let you know, 'tis the season, right? I mean, that's the absolute truth of it. And it's the season for expressing thanks to family and friends and associates. And let me tell you, the best way to show your appreciation is to let Dinstall's create a sweet thank you for your clients and your employees. From chocolate turkeys for your Thanksgiving table to cashew crunch and turtlettes for everybody to enjoy, Dinstall's will take care of all your holiday gift giving. That's the truth. You can call them today. Let them create sweet memories for your holidays. And they've got it all over the place. In Laurelwood and Germantown and Collierville and Pleasant View and downtown. Dinstall's, made in Memphis and enjoyed by the world. Should let you know I'm sitting in the Family Leisure Studios, and the Overstock sale is continuing, and it's going really well, by the way. Just go on and see Billy Conley or go see the boss, Lindsay, and get select patio sets up to 50% off as they clear out this inventory to bring new stuff for the spring in. Maybe you want to play gym, that's under $2,000. They've got extended sale pricing on all in-stock hot tubs and swim spas. And, of course, if you're closing your pool, and you better start thinking about that, 30% off on all of that. All you got to do is get to I-40 and Wooden Road, go north about maybe a half a mile, turn to your right. You'll see the palace that I call Family Leisure, where family and fun and Overstock sales all come together. So fresh from his AutoZone Liberty Bowl board meeting, the Big Cheese, the head honcho Steve Earhart joins us now. What did you tell your board today? Good morning, Steve Earhart.
Great, thank you, David. Yeah, we had our fall meeting of our AutoZone Liberty Bowl Festival Association. We have about 500 members, and this was the board of directors meetings. And I want to thank all the folks in town that volunteer to be on our board of directors and working to put together all our events and activities. We certainly reviewed the year in the past where we honored Jerry Lawler as our Distinguished Citizen of the Year, and then reviewed last week. We gave $800,000 to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
Wow.
It's a big number this year because Billy Donovan, so much loved the bowl. He put in a big chunk in his bequest, and then we talked about the high school all-star game. We'll be announcing the full rosters here later this week. Every single high school, 58 high schools in the Memphis Shelby metro area have a representative in that game, which will be December 9th at MUS. This year it'll be featured on Channel 5, so a great opportunity to showcase the young student athletes in the Memphis area high schools. And then we reviewed all our events and activities. James Alexander, the founder of the Barquets, Memphis' own James, was there, and he played a couple of his big songs that the Barquets will be playing at the President's Gala the night before the game on December 28th. We invite everybody. They're going to play the music that made Memphis, all the great songs from Soulfinger to Knock on Wood to Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, all the songs that originated from Memphis. So, and then they'll be playing at halftime as well on December 29th at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl game. So we reviewed a lot of areas, thanked all our folks for their participation, and we gave an award. And this, you'll remember, Dave, you were in the broadcasting business. Olin Morris, who had been the general manager of Channel 3 here in Memphis for so many years, and was a past president of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. He was inducted into the Bowl Season. Bowl Season is the new name of the national, organization of all the bowls, the 42 bowls, and he was inducted into their Hall of Fame because he was one of the key guys when Bud Dudley was moving the game here from Philadelphia, and then he was the voice of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl at the stadium, and so we presented Sandy Morris, his widow, with that award today. And so thanks to everybody that knew Olin Morris.
That's
a great leader in our community.
Yeah.
And then we talked about the teams, of course.
All right, let's get down to business here, okay? I think you're good with the Big 12. I've done the math on the SEC. if you look at that college football poll, it appears that when it gets to your pool, there's only going to be 9 by my forecast that are going to be eligible. And by the playoff and by the New Year's Day 6, it looks like when you get to your pool that there's 6 in that pool. Historically, when it's one short, which is what this would be, 5 teams would be eligible, but there's 6 teams in that pool. Forget the back end guys that even get selected after you. You know, if there's 9 teams in, I mean, if there's 11 or 12 teams in, there's no problem. 9 teams, though, with this thing, if 5 are out, you got a problem. And historically, it's happened twice, and you've taken American Athletic Conference teams because you got a contract with the AAC. 6 years ago, you took Memphis. I think it was 3 years ago, you took Navy. They were big. By the way, great games. The Tiger game was a sellout. First off, it just seems to me and I'm going by history, when there's one team out, one bowl out, Memphis is the one. And by the way, Memphis is the one without the NFL in the pool. They're the only one without the NFL stadium. So I think that there's a correlation there. But what did you tell your guys about the possibility of these teams? And do you want Memphis, say, like you did 6 years ago and get a sellout, over, say, a 6-6 Kentucky?
Boy, David, you packed a lot of information into that deal. David, you're on top of things. I think you had it pretty well laid out. And just to review quickly, the CFP, which is the College Football Playoff Committee, they picked 12 teams to populate those 6 bowls. And you hit it right on the head. If you took last night's rankings, then Georgia, Alabama, and Missouri would be a member. Those 3 would be in that 12. Then you have the Citrus Bowl. You know, they make a selection, and then our pool of 6, and you hit it right in the head. And sometimes people don't recognize that all 6 of us pay the same amount to the SEC. That's the Tampa Bowl, the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, the Bowl in Charlotte, the Houston Bowl, and the Nashville Bowl, and the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. We all pay the same amount. And
that's $3.2 million. Is that correct? $3.2 million is what you paid last year?
Yeah, that's just to the conference.
So out of curiosity, what would that be to compare it with the First Responder Bowl, which is what Memphis played in last year, or even the Birmingham Bowl, which is grouped but at the end of an SEC connection?
Well, I'm not sure I know the exact numbers, but it's way less than what we pay. I mean, it's significantly less. In fact, some of those ESPN bowls, which you mentioned, they're owned and operated by ESPN, and they basically just use them for, economical, I don't want to say cheap programming, but a lot of those bowls, they just get a certain allocation of tickets, and then the university has to sell them. So, yes, our bowl game would pay significantly more than any of those other bowls that would be potentially available to the American teams. So, as you've summarized there, that the SEC has total control of where they send their teams, and so even though we pay an equal number, they generally look to the stadiums, just what you said, and that's why, again, it's so important that these improvements to the stadium, which the state had allocated some money to, and I know that all the work has been done with the architects and so on to get going on the stadium improvements there as soon as our game is over, because that is always used against the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. That the other 5 members of the SEC pool all have spanking solid big NFL style stadiums. So. We don't have that. It's still at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. It's still a great place to watch a game because you're so much closer to the action. But we just don't have the number of suites and special seating there, and premium seating and that kind of thing, and fancy restaurant and concession areas. So that's why oftentimes we just as soon look at American. And you hit it right on the head. 6 years ago, Memphis played Iowa State. It was a terrific game. Remember, it was 21-20, and Anthony Miller was, down the sidelines. I can still remember the Tigers almost scored to win that game, and Iowa State was pretty darn good that year. And then 4 years ago, you said we had Navy in the game, and they upset Kansas State on that last, halfback pass that nobody ever anticipated that Navy would do. So we're happy to work with the American Conference, and we always want to support the conference that the University of Memphis is in. So, you hit it right on the head, and it's somewhat out of our control because it's up to the SEC, but we have contract with the American just like we have a contract with the SEC. So these national prognosticators, some of them are projecting Auburn in our game. Some of them are still projecting Kentucky, as you mentioned. Some are projecting if South Carolina, but South Carolina has to win 2 more games, right, and then Florida has to win 1 more game. Then when Arkansas
and they got to play Missouri and Florida State, so I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. So your analysis, you're probably, if you're taking the betting lines, you would say that there would only be 9 SEC teams eligible, and then it would be up to the SEC, whether we would get a team or not from the SEC, and then we would be, our contract with the American that runs contiguous with the Big 12 and the SEC. So that's where some of these prognosticators, one of them came out, I think, and said that SMU would be in our game. Another said that Memphis would be in our game. So we won't really know that for 2 weeks from this Sunday, or maybe early that morning, right after the championship week.
So it could end up that Saturday's game, seriously, winner is most likely headed to the championship game, which would mean probably, although Toledo, they were lucky to win last night. I watched some of that game too. They may be in the mix. I don't know what's going to happen with James Madison or Liberty. But you would think at this point that the AAC champion would go to the Fiesta and that the loser would go to Fenway. So this could be a game where the loser of this game on Saturday might end up in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. That's interesting to sort out there. UT San Antonio might be in that mix too, would they not?
Yeah, and you analyzed it correctly. There's 4 teams in the American that are competitive right now, as you mentioned, SMU and Memphis. It's sort of a do or die game for the University of Memphis because if they lose, they're out of championship contention. They would have had 2 league losses, but if the winner, could potentially control its own fate, and then of course San Antonio plays Tulane the last game of the year, and that could be an elimination for either one of those 2. So those 4 teams are definitely in contention for playing in the championship game. But I would say this, and this is just my opinion. Nothing is set in stone, but my opinion is that no matter what happens, the American champion will be called up into the final 12 for the New Year's 6. And I say that because I don't think, as you mentioned, Toledo has the strength of schedule. Liberty, who could end up being undefeated, doesn't have the strength of schedule. And with James Madison, I just do not see the NCAA 2 weeks to go in the season, giving them a waiver because their rules are they have to be at this division for 2 straight years.
That's a stupid.
Their second year.
That again is the NCAA cutting off their nose to spike their face instead of taking a team that's a great story that people would want to see, that you could market. They're going, nope, can't play. It just bugs the hell out of me. All right, we're out of time already, but it looks like this thing could be headed to the American against the Big 12, which would be okay, and an American school would make $3.2 million. I'm all for that.
Well, we're looking forward to a great game December 29th, and the gala. James Alexander, the founding member of the Barcades, was there this morning. Played a couple of his songs, Soulfinger, and some of these great songs that he'll be playing there. So we're looking forward to a great year, and thanks to all the folks out here in Memphis that supporting all our activities, the high school all-star game, and all our events leading up to December 29th. Thank you.
It'll be a little bit clearer next week, maybe. Thank you, Steve. We'll talk to you next Wednesday. We appreciate it. That is our man, the Big Cheese, head honcho of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. He's brought to you by our title sponsor. That's Homer Skelton Hyundai, and inside Homer Skelton Hyundai is Genesis of Olive Branch. Genesis of Olive Branch, run by Chris True, has been for years. Man, are they good at what they do. They got a guy now, and for a few years, called Vinny Gerard, Crazy Canadian. He's over the Genesis cars. Those are the luxury cars with all the new shiny toys, the latest in technology and the best ride I have ever had. That Genesis car is special. And they got the SUVs. They're the most highly sought after, and they've got special pricing right now. If you're interested in a GV70 or a GV80, that's the bigger SUV, please go see Vinny Gerard. Tell him we sent you. Ask about the special price. There's a sales price and financing. Ooh, yeah. Go see Vinny at Genesis of Olive Branch. Back in just a minute. Brett Norsworthy's all set to join us. We'll talk more SEC when we come back.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
A cold shower is no way to start your day. Purchase a new water heater from the pros at Conway Services, and you may be eligible for up to $2,000 in federal tax credits. Call 384-3511 to schedule your appointment. Visit conwayservices.com for details, terms, and conditions. License number 64210, 64365 EAS, MS 19688.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
It doesn't matter if you're at the lake, if you're hunting, fishing, playing golf, or just playing around, Scooters Plus can hook you up with the mobility that you need. Scooters Plus has the largest vehicle and parts inventory in the Mid-South and the best service department. You can choose from ATVs, UTVs, golf carts, motorcycles, dirt bikes, trikes, scooters, and even electric bikes. Come in today to start or wrap up your holiday shopping with 25% down on Christmas layaways. Scooters Plus, 3425 Summer Avenue. Call Sam at 458-8843 or go online to scootersplus.us.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Response to the all-new Genesis Diamonds has been incredible. People are loving what we've brought to Memphis. Genesis is a different kind of jewelry store with more jewelry than you've ever seen in one place at prices you never thought possible. But value is just a piece of the Genesis difference. They're taking consumer protection to a whole new level with non-commissioned salespeople, free service for life on any purchase, and a nationwide price guarantee. And listen to this. Genesis is so confident in their diamonds that they offer a groundbreaking 120% upgrade guarantee. This means when you buy a diamond now and bring it back in the future to upgrade it, you'll get your entire original purchase price plus an extra 20%. So if you spend $5,000 on your original diamond, Genesis will give you $6,000 when you trade up to a bigger diamond. Think about it. We'll pay you more than you paid us for the same diamond. Who else does this? Discover the Genesis difference, forever changing how people in Memphis buy diamonds and fine jewelry at Poplar & Perkins, the official jeweler of the Tennessee Titans.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
To Forest City, let's go. Our friend Brett Norsworthy, you listen to him on Sports Time every day from 3 to 6 with Brian Takis. He joins us every Wednesday in this time slot. We talk SEC. We talk a whole lot about many subjects. I want your thoughts on the Tigers and SMU, but I want to start with how good Georgia might be. Your Ole Miss Rebels, you saw them in person against Georgia and Alabama. That's going to be the SEC title game. Who's going to win that game, Brett? You're David Kellum and that crew was just raving about Georgia's lines, both sides, how dominant they were. Are they as good as they were saying?
Yes, they are, and we also, Ole Miss caught them on their best night of the year, but Georgia's that good, and it was amazing after the game, Dave, to think you saw somebody that, is that much better than Alabama, than Nick Saban's team. Now, when I saw Alabama, that was in September, and they were sorting a lot out, and they're getting it sorted out, but we saw Georgia in middle of November, and they're really hitting their stride. But the SEC championship game will be some game. Georgia's got some work to do this week at Rocky Top, but I think they'll take care of that. And then they have Georgia Tech in their big rival game. They'll win that. Haynes King is a mighty fine quarterback, though, for Georgia Tech. They'll see better quarterback play against Georgia Tech than they will this week against Joe Milton in Tennessee. But then they'll play Bama in yet another one of the it's almost like Lakers and Celtics, those great years when we get Alabama and Georgia, and going to get that again. And if Alabama won, that could set up two SEC teams potentially in the college football playoff. But there's even a scenario, Dave, that Alabama could win and be 12-1 and SEC champion, and Georgia would be 12-1 and defeated in the SEC championship game, that the SEC does not get anybody in the playoffs. And I'm here to advocate that if Texas, if that happens, and Texas, the champion of the Big 12, they beat Alabama soundly this year on the field, they get dibs.
I'm with you. I honestly think that scenario, I could see both scenarios, right, where both Georgia and Alabama get in. But I agree with you. If, let's say, Washington wins out, right, and they got 2 wins over Oregon, how do you not put them in? Florida State,
they're in.
They win out. Either Ohio State or Michigan are going to be in.
That's 3.
If Alabama beats Georgia and Texas goes undefeated and they beat Alabama head-to-head, how do you not put Texas in? That scenario would say to me that the SEC gets shut out, which solidifies the fact that we're going to have a playoff, which we will next year.
We will next year. And, Dave, this poll also shows that this time next year we're all going to be very ecstatic about the playoffs. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be great for college football. But, Dave, I saw Saturday night, going into that game, that was 2 versus 9 in the college football rankings, right. Georgia and Ole Miss. I saw a big disparity between 2 and 9, and we're going to see that in the playoffs. I hope that playoff scenario is enough for fans. I've got a feeling as the years wear on, it won't be. It'll be fun initially. We made the playoffs. Coach gets a big raise. Everybody's happy we went to the playoffs. But there's going to be a lot of blowouts in that 5-12 6 versus 11 game. Now, those others will narrow. But then when we get into that second round, 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, it's going to be some blowouts because we've seen the blowouts with it just being 1 versus 4 and 2 versus 3.
Well, okay, let's take a look at what might have happened this year had they had it. And based on last night's poll, you'd have Oregon State, Oregon. I don't think that's a blowout. Louisville, Texas, Missouri, Alabama. The one game that might be Tulane and Michigan. That would be that's the potential for a blowout game.
Well, it is, but we thought USC and Tulane would be a blowout too.
Exactly, and look what happened. So I think first of all, I think it's going to blow the roof off the ratings. I think people go crazy.
Will. You want to hear a ratings nugget from last weekend? This is amazing. Yeah. Last weekend on Friday night, Lakers-Phoenix in the play-in game. Lakers-Phoenix.
Right.
I mean, that's magical names involved in all that, okay?
Absolutely, yes.
1.9 million viewers. Saturday morning, Big Noon, the pregame show on Fox.
Yes.
It drew 1.9. A pregame show on Fox drew what NBA on Friday night did.
That's
Game
crazy.
Day, originating from Athens, 2.2 million viewers.
I'm almost shocked that the Fox is within fighting distance of the ESPN show.
Well, they never top them, but they really have. They've made gains. They have made gains, and we know a lot of times in this, you kind of take it a bite at a time. And then we get to the actual games. On Saturday morning, 11 o'clock game from Lexington, Kentucky. Bama and Kentucky, 2.7 million. Saturday afternoon, Michigan and Penn State, 9 million viewers. Wow. Ole Miss, Georgia, Saturday night, 5 million. Ole Miss, Georgia on Saturday night with 3 million more viewers than the Lakers in Phoenix.
College football, baby. And wait till you get to these playoff games. I mean,
I'm with you.
There'll be NFL numbers.
So shouldn't ESPN programming, especially like right now in the morning time, the hot takery TV, shouldn't their programming schedule be mostly NFL and college football with those kind of numbers?
You would think. Let me just say this.
But it's almost on ESPN. We interrupt this NBA conversation to bring you a little bit of college football.
Well, here's the interesting aspect to me. They understand the importance of college football programming because they just made this little tiny stadium in Charlotte. Okay? It seats 15,000, Brett. No luxury boxes yet. They're going to build them.
It's going to host a bowl.
It's a new bowl.
Yeah,
15,000 seat stadium's a new bowl. It's studio programming is what football is.
But not at the bigger level.
No.
Not $5 million for Ole Miss, Georgia. Not
No.
$2.7 million for Alabama and Kentucky. Played at 11 o'clock on a Saturday morning, the TV graveyard time of day, drawing that over a Friday night with KD and LeBron.
No question. No question. College football is it. Football is it, and that's why it drives
the program
everything.
Programming then parallel that.
Well, in order to secure the programming they got in other areas, they have to make promises of other programming. So that's probably partly what goes into that.
I'd be giving my audience what they want.
Yeah, maybe they should get a little more college football programming in that. I wouldn't disagree with that, but they still do other programming, and now like the college football playoff thing that they stuck in between college basketball last night.
In Arizona and Duke in college basketball, Arizona and Duke. Now, I know it's early in the year, and there's a lot of other things going on. Arizona and Duke, 1.2 million viewers.
For the basketball?
Yep.
Interesting. Arizona and Duke, 1.2 mil.
That's it.
I would have thought you would have gotten a little bit more than that, for sure. All right, let me ask you your thoughts on the SMU Tiger game this week.
It's huge.
And how that line. Earhart swears he saw it at 3.5. I saw it at 5.
It's 8.5.
No. It started. He says at 3.5. I saw it at 5, and now it's up to 8.5.
I never saw it at 3. I never saw it at 5. It's been pretty stuck at 8.5. And
I did see it at 5 for sure.
Here's what I like to compare. Let's compare the Tigers' 2 losses, very competitive against Mizzou, and the home loss to Tulane.
Right.
To SMU's 2 losses. Got beat by OU, got beat by TCU. TCU's not any good this year.
Right.
I don't know how good OU is. I think the 2 Tiger losses are significantly better than the 2 SMU losses.
I don't disagree with that. And I asked their play-by-play guy, a good friend of mine, Rich Phillips, about what happened. Why did they lose? I can understand losing to Oklahoma, but this is not a good TCU team this year. And he goes that they have this quarterback who's really good, but he was not good early. He was trying to figure it all out, and so that he claims the unfamiliarity with the
I buy that.
The quarterback and the offense were the reasons for the early
because we've seen
failure.
that with Alabama.
Yeah,
I mean Alabama's a far different team now than they were in that South Florida game.
But SMU's. They got good team speed on both sides. They're a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense. Lashley's he's pretty good. And
headed to the ACC. Last time the Tigers will see them in football for a while.
Maybe forever.
And
that is sad because honestly, that has become a great little rivalry thing this week in 2019.
It's been real good.
It has been.
Tigers have to play their best game of the year. Tigers have to play their best game in the Ryan Silverfield era to win Saturday.
No doubt. And it is his signature moment. I mean, he's got a chance to say, okay, here we go. But
that happens to every coach. Guess what? When Alabama plays Georgia, the unthinkable, Alabama's going to know how the rest of the world feels when they play them because they're going to have to play perfect. They're going to have to play their best game in the Nick Saban era to beat Georgia.
Yeah.
Welcome to the real world.
Yeah. You're not surprised about Jimbo Fisher and Zach Arnett, are you?
No, I'm not. It just continues the sadness at Mississippi State, and it's always predicated around the loss of one of college football's grandest figures, most colorful figures. And State's been kind of in a scramble since then. But for State on the field, 2 huge rival games. This week they play Southern Miss at home, and then the following week or following Thursday night, 5 days afterwards, the battle for the Golden Egg against Ole Miss. So they have a chance to maybe make this year a little bit better with those 2 big games coming up. And for Jimbo Fisher, it as soon as the ball was blocked at Ole Miss, he was done.
Do you think that Sam Pittman is going to stay alive
I do, Dave. I think they want to, but now don't lose to Florida International Saturday night.
Oh, they're
Fayetteville.
30-point favorites. That's not going to happen. Come
okay. I don't think so either, but I would highly suggest not losing it. And don't get splattered the day after Thanksgiving against Mizzou.
They could, because Mizzou's pretty good.
Mizzou's real good. Mizzou,
yeah.
You go around the country, Dave, and you look at everybody's big three. I think the Tigers have a great big three. Seth Hennigan, Blake Watson, Rock Taylor. Look at Mizzou's big three. Cook, Schrader, Burden. That's big time.
Burden.
I think Ole Miss has a good big three.
Yes, they do. No doubt. Burden's the best receiver I've seen this year.
If he's healthy. Really
if he's healthy.
When they just kind of swing it out to him in that little smoke bubble tunnel stuff, look out.
Yeah, and Cook can do that. There's no doubt. And Schrader's really good, as you said.
They are.
Judkins is really good for Ole Miss. Dart's been
the
terrific.
Tigers have a prolific big three.
They do. I would agree with that. And, Blankenzy has become a pretty darn good receiver.
He has.
So
and a little something at tight end.
Oh, yeah. Well, between Doyle and Lamphere out of nowhere, that's part of Cramsey. And I should mention, I'm so happy that Tim Cramsey is getting recognition because now he's a Broyles Award candidate.
Yeah. And that is a really acclaimed award.
The Tigers, let me just say, are going to have to ride the Cramsey offense. They got to score 40, in my estimation. Because their defense against this SMU team is really going to be tested, and they are banged up, and they just haven't
funny to,
really
to
been
chart
good.
This. How many punts Saturday at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium?
Can I put the over under at 5 total?
Boy, I think I might take the under.
You'll take the under?
I think I may. I think the Tigers, they have to make SMU punt the ball 4 times.
Whew. Good luck. I hope that's right. I asked Phillips about it. I said, how good is your punter? He goes, I don't know. We never use them.
That's it. Dave, around college football, the punters get the hot water first. They're first to the locker room because you don't need them.
Not in this day and age. Brett, as always,
you got it, man.
I truly appreciate it. We'll talk next week.
You got it. Thank you, Dave.
That's Brett Norsworthy. Listen to him this afternoon, that's for sure. He's brought to you by Conway. Reputable services available 7 days a week. Hey, I call them my rescue guys. If I got a heating, I got a cooling, I got an electric or a plumbing problem, I call Conway, 384-3511. They take care of you. We take care of today with Ron Higgins. To Baton Rouge, we go next.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Fall is in the air, and so are Choate's Early Bird Specials. Right now, receive $1,000 off the purchase of a new Carrier gas furnace. Carrier furnaces come with some of the best warranties in the industry, and Choate's has been professionally installing them for over 60 years. As a Carrier factory authorized dealer, Choate's also offers competitive financing solutions for you and your family. If your heating system is in good shape, make sure you take advantage of Choate's Early Bird Tune-Up Special for $60. This tune-up is an in-depth 20-point inspection to make sure your furnace is ready for the winter season ahead. So call 347-8086 to schedule your Early Bird Special today. And turn to the experts with Choate's and let our family serve your family.
Let's end this year with a bang with Gossett Mitsubishi's Mitsubishi Motors year-end sales event. You want huge savings? We Gossett. The awards keep coming for the world's first and best-selling plug-in hybrid SUV. 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV. 420 total range and PGE. We Gossett at $299.96 a month. Plus, 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport. Buy for $26,850 or $379 a month. Plus, IIHS top safety pick in seat 7. 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander. $32,185 or $399 a a month. All equipped with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. You want it, we Gossett. Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or 24/7 at MemphisMitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
PHEV PZ062 MSRP 44,355, 84 months, 500 military and conquest or loyalty rebate. Outlander RZ 06545, MSRP 33,185. Sport RU 00104, MSRP 27,850. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
The holidays are a time for coming together, wherever together may be. Here's to getting there safely. The exceptional vehicles at Mercedes-Benz Holiday Love Celebration can help you do just that. This holiday season, find incredible offers on the vehicles that you're bound to love, like the EQE SUV, equipped with 10-inch rear axle steering and automatic lane change. This all-electric vehicle is as safe as it is spacious. Or the EQB, with an optional third row, room up to 7. You can bring everyone and go anywhere for the holidays. And the unforgettable C-Class, designed with driver-oriented screen and digital light. It's the sedan that puts you first. Still, there's more to love, whether it's the spacious EQS SUV or the beautiful E-Class sedan. There's a vehicle for everybody at your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer. Find an exclusive offer on a vehicle you'll adore at Mercedes-Benz Holiday Love Celebration, going on now through January 2nd. With exceptional cars and incredible offers, what's not to love? Learn more at MBUSA.com/special offers.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
To Baton Rouge we go. Our SEC historian Ron Higgins joins us. Now, I hate this week because it's bye game week. Really is the best way to put it. Now, there are a couple of good games. Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, Missouri, Kentucky, South Carolina. South Carolina's got to win to become bowl eligible. So does Florida. I don't think either team will win, but otherwise you got like Ole Miss and Louisiana Monroe. And your guys, LSU, Georgia State, like that's 30-point line or something like that. Are you excited about this game, or do you think it's a good place to put this crummy game?
You got to put it somewhere.
I'd rather have it early when you're trying to get your team together.
But you know, a lot of SEC teams like to schedule this game late in the season. It kind of it gives them a breather, a chance to breathe, and then they usually play a rival in the last game of the year, and then they just kind of set their schedule up that way. I mean, that's just kind of the way it goes. I mean, I'm looking at LSU schedules next year, and they got USC and UCLA in the first month.
Yeah,
so,
and you've got a big game with A&M the following week.
Yeah,
the last game.
Yeah, last game. So I mean, and LSU wants to win 10 games this year. They need to win out. They want to win 10 games again. That's their goal right now. Finish 10-3, and it seems like they can get there. Just got to win these two games, get to the bowl, and win that one. And you know, as we all year, it's the same thing. Offensively, they're just the best in the nation. Defensively, they're exceedingly average or worse. And so, just one of those years, got to kind of live through it and kind of get to the end of it, and go recruit some more defensive backs and maybe change some defensive coaches. I don't know what he's going to do. I know they need to get some. You get stockpile some more players on defense, and
just pay out the money like you did in basketball and baseball and find some defensive guys in the portal, and you'll be just fine. That's for sure. Who do you think wins the SEC championship game? It's already set up, Georgia and Alabama. I was just amazed at how dominant Georgia was over Ole Miss. That Ole Miss team is good.
Yeah, I think the early line that's like 5 points, like Georgia by 5. I think Georgia really rises to the occasion to play somebody really good. And I think Georgia is by far the best team in this league, by far. But I think they're the deepest. They have the most talent. They have least questions about them. They've been, like I said, they're kind of like old school Alabama. They just kind of ground you in the ground and wear you out, and because of their depth, and they got a lot of different weapons, and they're deep. And I don't think Alabama is deep and has a lot of different weapons. I think Alabama's good, but I don't think they're Georgia. So I take Georgia.
How did Georgia overtake Alabama? Let's. I mean, we know that Kirby Smart is a Nick disciple, but how has he been able to engineer becoming the SEC's premier program?
Out recruiting Alabama. I mean, just Alabama recruits great. I mean, Kirby's recruited out just unbelievable. And stuck. I mean, he never wavered. Stuck with his philosophy. I mean, just some of Saban's principles. I mean, have a really good, solid run game that you can rely on. A defense that makes plays. Special teams that are solid, don't hurt you, and have a quarterback who's good but not great. Somebody who can run your system and makes plays and depth. And Georgia's got depth, and they stockpile depth. And so when they lose people, they just carry on. So I mean, I think that Kirby has established himself as the best program in the league.
No doubt.
I mean,
and his lines, where the games usually are won, most fans don't really get that. But if you've got a great offensive line, you're in good shape. If you've got a great defensive line, you're in good shape. And his lines are unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. Both sides of the ball and depth, and just solid. And like I said, they're not spectacular, but they just like an old school Alabama team. They just wear you out, and by the time in the mid third quarter on, you're done, and they just pile on points. And so they're very, very good. They deserve the number one ranking. Absolutely.
Let me switch on over to hoops. How the heck did LSU lose to Nichols? What happened?
I would say, Nichols came out and hit a bunch of threes early. LSU stood around, didn't do anything. Tried to rally back. LSU actually took the lead, and then this Nichols guy hits like a 28-foot off-balance jumper right before the buzzer sounds. Hey, look, Nichols deserves to win. They led 35 minutes of the game. They led 35 minutes of the game.
Wow.
They deserve to win. LSU didn't play hard. It was the first time I've ever seen after the game their coach get upset, which was great. It was nice to see their coach actually acts like not a robot and actually get really peed off. It was wonderful. And hopefully they'll take that and keep going. I know when the LSU women lost that Mulkey absolutely probably burned down the dressing room on their film session 2 days later. And they've been killing people ever since. But, SEC in basketball, like we said, I still think it's Tennessee at the top. Kentucky played really good last night and lost. I watched that game.
I did too.
They're better.
But they didn't. They had 3 7-footers that didn't play.
Yeah.
And those freshmen, DJ Wagner and Reeves, I think they were. I forget what they were. Not maybe not Reeves, but another guy. They were like 1 of 15. DJ Wagner's not going to do that every day. He's a lottery guy. Yeah. So I think if I were John Calipari, I'd feel pretty good this morning about hanging in with the number one team. Should have beat them. But when you get those big guys back, the Michigan transfer, he's not going to be able to get 30 rebounds like he did last night.
Yeah, I know. But he's a big solid. He looks like a big solid blockhead Kansas center, doesn't he?
Yeah, he sure does. Well, he's just a tough guy. He was with Michigan. I don't know how DeJuan Howard let him go.
Just a big, tough, broad-shouldered, almost like crew cut type dude is just going to really good in the post, makes free throws, gets screens, gets rebounds, good solid player, man. I mean,
what do you think Kansas is paying him NIL?
I don't know. Oh man, I don't know. $200,000 or $300,000 a year.
Oh God, it's more than that, I bet.
Got to be. I mean,
got to be more than that.
It's hard to tell what these kids make. You don't really know.
Right.
You just kind of read the offers and stuff. You kind of go, wow. But that's why schools that are in recruiting areas that aren't very good and don't have enough money from alums, they're never going to win championships. They aren't. I mean, and like in football, I mean, look, Arkansas can fire Sam Pittman and bring the next guy. They're not going to win a championship. You're not, because you're not in a great recruiting area. And I mean, Arkansas obviously got the Walton. They got Walton money, but they can't match like A&M money. And A&M money obviously is crazy because they're paying Jimbo
$76 million.
So
just think of this figure, okay? I'm trying to remember the math in my head, but since 2011, okay, 12 years ago, dead money, in other words, money that universities owe coaches to not coach anymore, it's like $700 million. We're talking almost $750 million of dead money in the last 12 years. That stuff's crazy.
I mean, they're going to pay Jimbo the remainder of his contract $26,000 a day not to work.
Lord, and there's no offset. He's brilliant. Zach Arnett, there's a big offset. So Mississippi State's not going to lose anything.
Let's get credit where do. Jimmy Sexton. This is why coaches hire Jimmy Sexton.
That's right.
Jimmy
exactly.
Sexton makes sure all his clients get contracts that are guaranteed, all of it, or you don't sign them.
Man.
He started with Nick Saban doing that. It just carries through. So.
Well, Ross Bjork is at fault on this one, too. He fired him, but he's the guy that extended him 2 years ago and got him more money. So $76 million bucks not to work. I like that deal, buddy. I would like that deal. Ron, as always, we appreciate it. We will talk to you next Wednesday. Thank you so much, my friend.
I'm going to go hire Sexton as my agent right now.
You should. We all should. Right. He's the best. Bye-bye. That is our guy. That is Ron Higgins down in Baton Rouge. He's brought to you by Grind City Brewing, taking care of beerness in Memphis, and they have for quite a while right now. If you've got a thirst, they've got a product like Poppy's Pills, just what the doctor ordered. Sometimes you come across a beer so smooth and crushable, it cures what ails. You take 2 of these, we guarantee you'll be coming back for more. That's the Pilsner. How about the India Pale Ale called the Godhopper? That is fantastic. I think that's their number 2 seller. There's the Amber Lager Thaddeus. There's the Blue Moonish Belgian-style wheat ale called Belga. There's the Tiger Tail craft malt liquor. It's just a beautiful thing to see. It was a dream of a father and a son. Several years ago, they built this brewery downtown, which is fantastic, with great picnic grounds. There's tables with umbrellas there, a view of the bridges in downtown, and this product that is so good. Grind City Brewing. Check it out. Taking care of beerness in Memphis. We have taken care of Wednesday. We'll say so long. We'll be around tomorrow morning. Johnny Radio is next. Just have a great day, everybody.